The Batman starring Robert Pattinson comes out this weekend, and I wanted to do a little rewatch of Batman. And look, it came down to two. It was either Batman Begins or Batman Forever. Now, Batman Begins because it's the best origin story, and then Batman Forever simply because it has the Riddler. Well, my good friend Michael told me stay away from Batman Begins because it is a near-perfect movie, and it could ruin your thoughts on this new one. So just go have some fun and watch Forever. Great idea. So that's what I did, and here's what I think. First off, Batman Forever is the reason I love Batman. Like, I remember as a kid, we watched this movie over and over and over again. Truly, my earliest memory of Batman was this movie. And it is goofy. It is ridiculous. It is the 90s. And honestly, it's a ton of fun. But it's not very good. Now, what sets this movie apart from any other Batman movie is that this one is the horniest. When I say it's the horniest, like, to start off, there is a psychiatrist who is Chase Meridian. This is the love interest to Batman in this movie. And she fires off the Batlight and shows up in a bathrobe and some pajamas. And all she wants to do this whole movie is bone Batman. It's crazy. It really is all that she's after, which kind of makes it, not a great character. Another example of the crazy horniness that goes on in this movie, you have Two-Face's lair, where he has two smoking hot women. One is Drew Barrymore, by the way. And they separate, and they are his two different parts, and clearly his muse. And you just can imagine that there's some crazy deleted scenes somewhere in this setting. The last one I think about is the fact that Two-Face storms this party with all of his henchmen. They're firing off guns, explosions, they're just ruining everything. And what does Two-Face have next to him? A bad bitch. That's crazy. Like, it's in this movie. It's so fun. Honestly, I think Val Kilmer has the best Batman voice of any Batman. But otherwise, this is cheesy. But listen, we're coming off of Batman Returns in the 90s, a very dark and unsettling movie. This was Joel Schumacher, different director. They're going to brighten things up. We see really cool sequences with lots and lots of color in this movie, and you could tell it was intentional, and I think that's why it probably appealed to kids. And when I grew up, I loved this movie. Now, the casting in it is crazy. Now, you got Batman Forever. Now, the casting is honestly pretty great. You got Nicole Kidman as the horny psychiatrist, love interest. There's really not much else to her. Again, we've already talked about it. You got Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. Look, it's fine. It's definitely the goofiest. I know it's crazy to say in a movie where Jim Carrey is wearing tights as the Riddler, but Jim Carrey was perfectly cast in this movie and was right at home. He was just as goofy as this movie was. He leaned into it clearly. I love it. I love Jim Carrey's Riddler, and I think Paul Dano's Riddler is obviously going to be amazing. Dark twist on it. But I had a thought, is how crazy would it actually be is if Jim Carrey came back and was the Riddler? Like, it would truly be just as terrifying as Paul Dano. Chris O'Donnell is Robin in this movie, and one thing, this movie does get a lot of crap, but one thing it does very, very right is Robin. You get a really good Dick Grayson story of his family at the circus, and when Two-Face shows up at the circus, they end up sacrificing their life to try to save people, and all that's left is young Dick Grayson, and, this is, like, it's just a good feeling Robin. He is someone who is a rebel. He takes out Batman's car. He goes, he saves a girl. He kisses her. He fights these dudes in the street. It's a really good Robin story. Like if you don't love it as a Batman movie and you don't respect it, you gotta respect the Robin element. Now, other than there are bat nipples and it's a little cheesy and clunky, the lines are weird, Val Kilmer's Batman really goes through every character arc you see Batman go through, and I think that's where the issue is it's just all wrapped in one movie. We get to see that montage of his parents being murdered in the alley. We hear him with all his quips of what it means to chase revenge your whole life and chase the next death and the next villain. We see him get to be a reluctant mentor to Robin. But it's all a little too much. But it's a good movie. This is a good time. This is a good way to catch up. I'm super excited for this new Batman. I think it is going to surpass expectations. I've tried to avoid trailers, photos, synopsis, anything, but now I got my Batman fix in. I'm ready to see the movie. All in all, Batman Forever is worth a rewatch. It's a great Batman movie, and if you loved it as a kid, it's not great, but it is still a good time. Roommate Tanner, he gives it 7 out of 10. That's pretty good. I'm giving it a C plus because I had fun. It's not good, but I had fun, and I really have nothing but good things to say about it. How did you like Batman Forever? Because if you haven't watched it, you got to go back and watch it now. I'm giving it a C plus, but I'm giving it a big heart on Letterboxd. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. So what did you think? Do you like Batman Forever? Do you think it's the best of the 90s? Do you think it's underrated, overrated? I want to hear what you have to think. This is my review of Batman Forever.